A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for finding time to join us on the program this week. Slowly but surely, we are entering our favorite part of the year. I already smell it in the air. Excitement. Welcome on board. My name is Lucy Lube. On the lineup this week, we join Faith and our guest, Mr. Fatai Kayode Lawal, the Managing Director and Chief Executive of Sterling Assurance Nigeria Limited, on the CEO Rendezvous for the continuation of the exclusive session where they discuss the topic, End Sars Protest Aftermath, Insurers in the Eye of the Storm. Speaking in the course of the interview, Mr. Lawal said that while it is good to believe in prayers, it is also important for individuals and governments to insure their assets. To take a listen.
We are a country where we believe more in prayers, and God would do it. God will protect us, and He's doing it. But it is known that it sometimes happens this way. The kind that we have seen during the NSAS, we have not witnessed it in recent time. And we're witnessing it for the first time. And I think we'll learn the lesson from it, that that kind of thing can still happen. And so if you have a shop anywhere, be rest assured that it's not going to be your portion, but if it is, you have somewhere to go to for compensation.
On this edition also, we will bring you highlights from the National Conference of the National Association of Insurance and Pension Correspondents, NAIPCO, that took place recently at the 4 Points by Sheraton Hotel, Victoria Island. The theme of the conference was promoting bankable investments portfolio for insurance and pension sectors. Guest speaker was Dr. Muda Yusuf, the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI. In his lecture, Dr. Yusuf said that the bankability of investments is a major challenge in the economy at the moment. To take a listen.
The challenge of bankability is not just facing the insurance or pension industries alone. It's a challenge that the economy is facing generally. Practically all investors are faced with this challenge. The banking sector is faced with it. That is why we have so much liquidity now in the banking system. And the last estimate put it at trillions of naira sitting in the banks looking for investment outlets.
Plus, of course, all the other extras we bring you each week on the program. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the time. Details in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Having insurance is like having an army or police force. Having these shows you are ready for your enemies should they decide to attack. The enemies may never attack, but you must always have your defenses ready and prepared.
What is the role of reinsurance in all that has happened? As I said, they've put the figure at about 700 billion, and the Lagos state government have said they need about 1 trillion naira. So someone have asked me that, where is the insurance industry going to get all that money from to settle the Lagos state government 1 trillion, about 700 billion? Where are they going to get the money from? So I said there's reinsurance. So what's the place or role of reinsurance in all of this?
Reinsurance is a means of further spreading the risk of loss between insurance company and other insurance companies or companies that are known as reinsurance company. And these reinsurance companies are partly local, partly continental, partly international. And it's through reinsurance that the risk in one locality is shared internationally across many nations, so that the loss become lighter on everybody. When there is a loss of this magnitude, a small percentage, not more than, in my view, 25 to 30% are supposed to be borne by the local insurers. The remaining 70% are borne by reinsurers. This ratio now depends on the scale and size of losses of risk that are involved in the loss.
Okay, sir. Before now, you often find governments being an insurer of last resort to the citizen. But in the situation where we are in right now, even governments also have their own issues, so to speak, to deal with. So going forward, what is the message to the public and even on the part of government when it comes to the development and growth of insurance? By that I mean encouraging more of the citizens to embrace the risk mechanism of insurance.
It's not just government encouraging citizens, even government itself ensuring that they arrange insurance to protect themselves. I can say this for sure, that Lagos State is perhaps one of the few states in the Federation that takes insurance seriously and try to ensure that they insure most of their assets and pay their premium in good time. There are quite a number of states that they don't even do insurance, let's put it that way. So if the state is not doing it, how do you encourage your citizens? So government should encourage individuals, organizations to seek insurance as a mechanism for protecting themselves in the event of losses of this nature. It's unfortunate that this peaceful protest has turned out to bring these huge losses. I do not want to argue about whether it is right or wrong to have done the protest, but the outcome, I'm sure, is beyond the imagination of those who initiated the protest.
Okay, but sir, the argument in the public domain is that it's not those who were genuinely protesting that participated in the wanton destructions we have seen across some of the states in Nigeria.
It's just that they took advantage of the protest. That's the point I'm making. And if there has not been protest, maybe they will not have. That's the point I'm saying. In insurance, we talk about proximate cause. What is the starting point for this series of events? And you have to link it back to the protest. It's quite unfortunate.
Okay, sir. Going forward, let me bring you back to taking advantage or riding on the wings of what has happened. Now, before now, the talk has been that you insurance practitioners, you've not done enough when it comes to insurance awareness, advocacy, and part of the reason why insurance penetration has remained at less than 1%, depends on who is giving the statistics. So going forward, given what we have seen, what is the industry going to do differently to ensure that you continue to bring to the consciousness of Nigeria the reason why they should embrace insurance?
Thank you very much. I think you are aware some time ago the industry tried to put together a campaign, a mass education campaign, mass advertising campaign for the industry before the capitalization started, and I think that's what put a hold on it. The idea was to contribute huge sums of money. Consultants were engaged, and they were to start series of campaigns that, if sustained over 1 year, would make a lot of difference. I think we have to go back to that now. The only thing is people are saying, let's complete this capitalization, let's know where we are before we embark on that. This thing is not just the benefit of the industry, it's also the benefit of society. So government should also campaign for the National Insurance Commission through one of your programs. That's what they are trying to do. Ensure that the public are enlightened about what insurance can do for them.
So, but on your part as players in the insurance industry, would you say you guys have done enough in terms of awareness creation?
I belong to that school of philosophy that say nothing is so good that it cannot be improved upon. The industry have done the best they could do, but this can be improved upon.
Have they done the best?
They have done, different companies have done mass advertising, mass promotion. If you say it's not enough, it's relative to the size of the operations. And going forward, I believe that the Nigeria Insurance Association, the Nigeria Corporation of Insurance Brokers, the National Insurance Commission, and the individual companies would use this medium, this opportunity to galvanize insurance awareness and promotion.
A lot of people are not aware of the benefit they stand to get from insuring their assets, no matter how small, no matter how little. So oftentimes when they hear about insurance, it doesn't really connect. If you take a survey, a lot of people, the only insurance they probably are aware of is a third-party motor insurance because it's made compulsory by law. So going forward and given what has happened, the other day I saw a guy crying on national television because he has lost everything, a small shop that was attached to a bigger structure that belongs to the Ondo State government and all of that. And I felt touched. So for people like that, what message or what can the insurance industry do to capture those people who are not really aware of the benefits they stand to get from insuring their assets, no matter how small it is?
I don't want to be controversial. In today's world, if we say people are not aware, I think it will not be right. They may not understand the full benefit that they stand to benefit. It has come to a point where people get to know. And many times, even very educated people, they are aware, they don't take it. So I expect that insurance companies and the insurance industry will, from here, strengthen their promotion, strengthen their mass awareness. And there are quite a number by individuals. And you know how long you've been on the road, shouting in pidgin, in real grammar, telling people about insurance. I want to believe that we can do more. I always tell people that if you don't have an asset, you don't have anything to protect. But the moment you start acquiring little, you just have to. Abroad, you want to buy just a tablet like this. If you want to buy a wristwatch, at the counter where you want to pay, they ask, the cost of your watch is 10,200 naira. If you want insurance for 3 years, we'll add additional 50 naira of 200 naira to it, and people willingly say, go ahead. If you don't want, they won't compel you. We are a country where we believe more in prayers, and God will do it. God will protect us, and He's doing it. But it is known that it sometimes happens this way. The kind that we have seen during the NSAS, we have not witnessed it in recent time, and we're witnessing it for the first time. And I think we'll learn the lesson from it, that kind of thing can still happen. And so if you have a shop anywhere, be rest assured that it's not going to be your portion, but if it is, you have somewhere to go to for compensation so that you can continue to do your business. And that's what I want to see in some of those who have insured in those shops. If you have insured your shop and you have paid your premium, we should be able to pay your claim within 30 days.
Okay, Mr. Lawal, it's probably the area where people not embracing insurance in this environment comes from. Oftentimes you hear people say, oh, when it's time for insurers to settle your claims, they come up with all sorts of excuses, all sorts of demands, all sorts of documentation that you have to bring, and sometimes it just pisses people off and they don't even want to listen. So given the scale of what has happened, for those who are genuinely insured and their claims are settled without putting them through a lot of hassles that they complain about, what would be the position of the insurance industry to also sell that so people can relate and see that, oh, of a truth, insurance, when it comes to claim settlement, they are there for you?
The insurance company are bracing up to working with their clients to ensure that these claims that arise from these losses are settled promptly. And believe me, that will be done in this instance. Quite a lot of the extra demand that are made on people will be waived because it's known that a loss has happened. So you don't need to go and say, get a police report that your house has been burgled. Everybody knows. So when it's a public, you don't need that. The second thing is the insurance company are working with those shop owners to see their records and reach agreement on what to be settled. And I know quite a number of companies are already doing that. We are doing that as well. Most times, these stories of, when there is time for claim, they don't pay. They are stories of yesteryears. Unfortunately, people don't remove it in their ears.
Okay, so if people don't remove it,
the way to remove it is, the average Nigerian has this problem. When he suffers a loss, he shouts so that everybody will sympathize with him. When he's paid, He doesn't tell anybody.
Okay, so if you operators know, why, if I refuse to shout as a claimant, why can't you shout on my behalf? Because you have more people who don't believe that you have settled me in the first place. When they settle claims, why are they not projecting that so that more members of the society can see and sometimes even relate? Because you never can tell if it's somebody that you know the next door.
There's this issue of confidentiality. You have a relationship between yourself and your client. You don't want to expose your client to the public, because tomorrow, after you pay the claim, the people get to know armed robbers go and attack you. You pay another claim. So that's the problem. But I think at the level of the NIA, the Nigeria Insurance Association, we should be publishing major losses, big losses that are sentimental. This particular one will be published. They may not mention the name of the individual that collect the money, so that I don't want to use all those names. We'll not start running after the person. That's the problem. But it also beholds the insured. If you have a shop and you've suffered a loss and you are paid by insurer, you should tell your friends. That's the only way we can get referrals. Don't just keep it to yourself. Now God do am.
Okay, finally, sir, as we conclude, what's the lesson you think the Nigerian insurance industry has learned from all that has happened?
The major lesson is that we should be conscious about our risk management process. We should not take for granted that things like this will not happen. Most times when insurance are being assessed, they're looking at individual risk and they are not taking into consideration the possibility of a catastrophic losses of this nature. The typical example of the Lagos State mass transit buses, where almost 57 of them were burnt in one incident, will not be contemplated. And in actual fact, in future, I think one of the lessons they will learn is that where you garage or park those vehicles, there must be a maximum limit. Thirdly, I think the insurance industry will also learn that these losses can happen. And when it does, you must just be alive to your responsibility. And I believe and hope that at the end of this loss situation, the industry will grow stronger and better and bigger, because the market will appreciate their contribution and they will respond positively to the industry.
Okay. On that note, I'd like to say thank you so very much, sir, for finding time to talk to us on the program. Thank you, sir.
All right, welcome back. Moving on, we now bring you highlights of the NAIPCO annual conference, which brought critical stakeholders within the insurance and pension sectors together to discuss issues that are germane to the sector's survival, especially at a time when interest rates payable on investment instruments have all crashed. Happy viewing.
The National Association of Insurance and Pension Correspondents, NAIPCO, recently held its 5th national conference with the theme Promoting Bankable Investment Portfolio for Insurance and Pension Sectors at 4 Points by Sheraton, Victoria Island, Lagos. Guest speaker was Dr. Muda Yusuf, the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which chairman was Mr. Austin Enajemo Isire, chairman, Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund. Welcoming guests and colleagues to the conference, the president of NAIPCO, Mr. Chuks Okonta, said that the NAIPCO conference was conceived to enhance discussions on issues on insurance and pension.
The National Association of Insurance and Pension Correspondents annual conference was conceived by our founding fathers to enhance discourse on matters around insurance and pension sector and by extension the economy. Over the years, the conference has helped to raise issues that have shaped operations of the insurance and pension sectors. As erudite scholars, we are being invited to speak and discuss on how to take the two sectors to a lofty heights. NAIPCO this year decided to raise discourse on a vital area that is of great essence to these sectors that we represent. And we actually looked at something that affects the insurance and the pension sectors, which is investment portfolios.
In his brief remarks, the chairman of the occasion, Mr. Isire, said that the current situation demands that the restrictive nature of insurance and pension funds investment outlets be reviewed to enable some identified sectors access funds to finance their operations.
We must note and be reminded that insurance and pension funds are subject of regulatory guidelines as provided in Section 25 of the Insurance Act of 2003 as amended to date, and Section 86 of the PROA, the Pension Reform Act 2014. All of these were meant for the purpose of safety and adequate returns. However, with the turns of events as we go today, a consideration for review of these legislations to enable some special and reset of the economy to have access to insurance and pension fund for their operations will be most beneficial to the growth and development of our nation's macroeconomic activities. We need a deliberate policy by the authorities, in addition to what is currently obtainable, directly or through moral suasion, to invest insurance and pension funds in sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture, aviation, and so many of all of that. What is necessary, like we always look at, is to have inbuilt safety mechanism.
Other speakers were the representative of the Director General of PENCOM, Mr. Shola Adeshiun, acting Head Southwest Zonal Office, PENCOM, Mr. Razak Salami, Director, Corporate Communication, NAIPCO, who represented the Commissioner for Insurance, and a host of others. Delivering his lecture, Dr. Yusuf said that it is only the pension and insurance sectors that can provide the needed long-term funds for real sector financing.
The pension and insurance sectors are the largest sources of long-term funds. The that of long-term funds is a major challenge in our economic environment. Close to 90% of the funds in the financial system are short-term funds. When I say short-term funds, I'm talking about funds maybe less than 3 years. And with that kind of fund, there is no way you can support the critical investments that we need to grow this economy. The only thing that can support effectively are things like buying and selling. But if we are talking about real sector investments, financing, we are talking about financing infrastructure, housing, and all of that, you need long-term funds. And the only major player in that space today is the central bank through the development finance institutions. The conventional financial banking system cannot support long-term funds. A few investors have taken the risk of using the short-term funds to finance long-term projects, and of course, many of them have burnt their fingers.
The high point of the conference was a panel discussion where panelists profiled solutions to the challenge of bankable investment outlets in the economy. The conference also afforded participants to ask questions.
The private sector believe the civil servant, the regulator, is supposed to know. I'm sorry to say, they don't know. You are to tell them. Their training is to regulate you. How you do the business and come about profit, make growth that will develop the economy, they don't know. They are zero about it.
Based on what you have said, it is an advice to the industry. And this advice should be taken seriously. You take this advocacy to the doorstep of those people, because you actually assume that they know, but they don't.
The National Association of Insurance and Pension Correspondents, as a critical stakeholder in the pension and insurance sector, is continuously looking for ways to contribute to the growth of both sectors by providing platforms for intellectual exchanges.
And that's our time on the program this week. Many thanks for being a part of it. Join us again, same time, same station next week for a fresh package. In the meantime, feel free as always to connect with us on all our social media platforms. Don't forget to join us live every Wednesday on Niger FM 102.7 on our flagship radio program, Waiting Insurance They Do Safe, powered by NAIPCO. My name is Lucy Ulugbe, and until next time, from the entire team, it's goodbye.